Good everyone, welcome back. Today was another red day. I took 4 trades and finished down $97.60. Coming off the back of a $422 loss yesterday, this one stings. Even though it's a smaller number, it still hits hard. With how low my account is right now, 2 days like this can undo weeks of progress. And the truth is, I could feel it, that shift in mindset. I wasn't trading to win today, I was trading to try and make it back. And that never ends well. Let's take a look at the charts. So these are the 4 trades I took, 2 on PAPL, 1 on WeBuy and 1 on LTRN. So I'll bring up the charts of PAPL first. So I got up just before 6:30. Well, actually turned my charts on just at 6:30ish. And this had popped up here to a high of 882. And this had popped in earlier on in pre-market, just after the open, PAPL. And you can see here I got in on my first trade of the day. Make this a bit bigger in here. So my first trade of the day, it had pushed up here to about 880, and I was looking to get in on the pullback. So I waited for it to come back down to around the 9 EMA at this level here. And it did. It came back and I got in it right there on the 9 EMA at 793 with 50 shares. It did push up to around 820 and I did not take that off the table. I was looking for a leg higher up to 9 and sort of breaking back over this pivot point here, previous pivot point and previous high here. It didn't do that, it pulled back and I actually took a good stop. I got out down here around 773. So that was, as it pulled back down here, it popped a little bit here and I got out at 773. So it was a good stop out, good choice to do that at that time. I didn't know what it was going to do. When it came back down to here, dropped below VWAP and made this new candle here, I was thinking about getting in, looking for the retest back through VWAP. I decided to leave it, and seconds later it was ripping up through to 850 here, so didn't get in there. This is where I should have taken the entry. I missed that, I hesitated and didn't take that entry there as it did a micro pullback back to the 9 EMA and and then really ripped, pushed up further to $10 and went over 10, up to 10, what is that? 1108 actually was the high of that green candle here. So missed that one and I was down $10 on that first trade there. Really this was where I should have been trading it. I should have been in here after that first pullback, micro pullback, should have been in there for this push up. Even trying to get in here would have been okay as well, although at the time, but I hesitated through all the front side of this move, not getting it at all, waited for a pullback. It was a deep pullback actually. I did think this was quite deep and I got in at 920, so I got in at a relatively decent price at the bottom here as it pulled back down to the 9 EMA and then bought up. So it bought up here and I bought in at $9.20, 50 shares. It started pushing, it struggled. The next candle, it struggled to break over that and hold. It was holding here still, so I stayed in the trade. It hadn't broken down below my stop or Really hadn't gone below my entry price. So I held that level, and as it pushed up here, I got a little bit, scared. I got scared out of this trade basically. It didn't look like it was going to go. And unlike this one, the first trade where I was up, $7.93, up nearly 30 cents a share as it went up to $8.20. I wasn't quite, it was about 25 cents really. I decided, no, I'm going to take it off the table. So I took it off the table there and made $12 profit. So now I was only up $2 profit on the day. And after those two trades, then I would be, I would actually be in the red after fees and commissions. So yeah, wasn't a good hold, wasn't a good read here. I did think it was going to go higher. I just got scared out because it had a bit of resistance at that level, and so I sold. And then it went higher up to over 10. What is that? 10.28, 10.30, 10.45. It eventually made a high up here of. So definitely needed to hold this one longer. So that was the first two trades on PAPL, and it was still pretty early. It was just after 7 o'clock. So I waited around and then took a trade on WeBuy, WBYE. Yeah, that's it. WBUY. So WeBuy popped up just after 7 as well. So I had switched over to WeBuy pretty quickly. Missed this initial push here. It had pulled back, popped again up to 14 and then pulled all the way back. That was probably an indicator there, this topping tail, that this stock might not actually push back. I waited for it to confirm that it had the potential to go back, and I thought this might hold on the 9 EMA. So I got in at 10.25, just there on the 9 EMA. It didn't hold, it pulled back all the way down to 9.34. So, really, as soon as this here had dropped, I'm in here at 10.25, and bottom of that red candle is down at 10.13. That's okay, but this next candle here, as soon as it broke down to below the 9 EMA, down to 9.98, it's breaking down through there. That was a get out. It's time to get out. It's a stop there around $10, and that would have been a relatively small loss, so that wouldn't have been too bad. But I held through that looking for it to rally, and it did rally. It rallied back up to about 10.36, but I was looking for it to push back through to VWAP, and it didn't do that. So then it flushed, and I'm still holding. It's 9.42 now, and I'm still holding, thinking, no, it'll come back. But then basically the volume went out of it, other stocks were popping, and traders had moved on from this stock because it wasn't moving. So volume dropped out of it, and I'm stuck in this trade. And instead of getting out here on a green candle as it's pushing back up at 9.94, and this is, I've been in this trade now for nearly 20 minutes, just over 20 minutes. Popped up here, that should have been my out, and yeah, because the volume's gone. From here it's really sporadic. This is the last sort of buy in here, and then it just you know, it just kept going down. I eventually sold here on a green candle at 9.44, but it, you know, should have been out way before that, you know, 9.67 even, but this green candle here up to 9.94. Once again, small loss of 40 shares, only down, you know, 30 cents a share. So, you know, that's not even 20 bucks in loss. But I took 9.44 was my out. I took a $32.40 loss. $32 in the red on that trade there. So, you know, and now I'm not trading well. I'm not waiting for confirmation. And, you know, there was a chance that this could have gone up here. And that's fine, but I'm holding it too long. You know, as soon as it broke down here, it should have been out. And even if I still stayed in there, this was an exit. You know, it hit that level there, wasn't holding, should have been out, you know, straight away. Or already been holding it long enough for it to show that it wasn't going to work. So that was WeBuy. Next stock I traded was Lantern, LTRN. And LTRN, hitting the wrong screen. So this popped up here. I actually saw it at this level here on this green candle. It had just pulled back and, you know, hesitated because I was looking for what the catalyst was for the stock. And I missed getting in at around 471. If I'd gotten in there, I could have been out up here at 520, you know, as it pushed over 5 up to, you know, breaking this level here. And that would have been a decent trade. You know, 50 cents a share, that would have been a really good trade. But I was waiting for the pullback and it came and I got in at $5 looking for it to hold around VWAP, around the whole dollar. It blew through $5 and dumped all the way back down to like 460. Yeah. And once again, should have been out either as it pushed up here or, you know, got out straight away. It's not working. This trade's not going to work. But I held too long. I held it into this flush and got out with a bad fill around 416. So around the bottom of this, this red candle about here. I think that was, yeah, the base where that closed. Basically was my exit. And that was, you know, a big loss on that one. That was $67.20 on a loss on that with 80 shares. So, yeah. You know, and after this trade here, I realized that my mindset just wasn't right. I was, you know, I wasn't trading on, like there's no confirmation that that was going to hold at that level. And I hadn't waited for it to actually sell off and then bounce to show that it was going to bounce. You know, you got your bottoming tails here, and that's sort of confirmation that it's going to hold at that level or possibly hold at that level. But, you know, I got in here just thinking, oh, whole dollar, I'm going to jump in there. Even before it had started coming down from this level. So that judgment and that mindset, I realized that, you know, that was the wrong mindset to have, and I wasn't, you know, going to be trading well. So I called it after that. And even though there was the opportunity probably to make it a smaller red day, I just felt that I was making bad decisions in not following my strategy properly, not waiting for confirmation that a level is going to hold, and not getting out, stopping out when I should be on my stops. So I started the day doing that. I stopped out really well, but then after that winning trade, I kept holding for a win and ended up making it a bigger loss. And that's a mindset that I used to have quite often, and I thought I had done pretty well over the last couple of months to reduce that and to get away from that mindset. And I just feel after the loss yesterday, I'm starting to get back into it. So I walked away after that trade, and even though I felt it was a bit of a, there was probably opportunity to make some money back, I just thought, no, I think I'm just going to walk away and leave it at that, not make it any worse like I did the previous day. So that was the lesson really from last night's trading, was that you need to walk away when your mindset's not in the right place. I didn't actually trade my bot last night. I forgot to turn it on. So I think it wouldn't have done as well as previously, even though the overall market's up, I think, on the S&P 500. I think it's breaking into new highs. The bot would have struggled with some of these stocks that were a bit choppy, especially like PAPL. Even though that went up quite a bit, it was still a bit choppy in between. So in between those big moves, so it probably would have got caught up in the chop, and probably would have been either break even or slightly red. So yeah, so down $97.60 on that session. 3 red trades to 1 green trade, so pretty low accuracy there, and not a good risk reward ratio at 0.33. So that's not a great result for this week after a decent green run last week. Yeah, so the equity curve has, taken a dive down here to below 200 in the red now. So, yeah, not good. We have to work on that. I think now is the time that I need to, bring back in those guardrails and bring back, not taking so many trades, to reduce the amount of trades I take, and, reduce that share size and maybe just make it 50 shares I trade, and, take 1 to 2 trades at most in a session, and really focus on my strategy and the right stock. This wasn't about the setup. It wasn't even about the trades, really. It was about me not stopping. After the second loss, I should have walked. My mindset was now in the I need this to work sort of mode. It didn't. And then I took another trade. Today was a reminder that even after 97 days of showing up, the mental game still trips me up. But I'm choosing to learn from this instead of letting it spiral. If you've ever felt yourself slipping into that just one more trade zone, you're not alone. Discipline isn't just about entries and exits, it's knowing when to stop, when you're in the wrong mindset. Let me know in the comments, how do you reset after a red day? And if you're finding these recaps helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate every bit of support. I'll be back tomorrow. Hei au popo.